And some time, come on in. We're gonna try to make this video, this live quick. I know I haven't made it live in a good while. Also going on, as y'all told y'all, I'm gonna tell you 2024, number 8, Build and Destroy. We here, okay, in this year. Well, officially, the Hebrew way, we going to be in 2024. What they call 2024 around March, in the March, April, during the time of Pascal Passover. So we know that's the real New Year. All right. The lunar calendar is around in the March, April, and the solar calendar is September. I think around September, October, around that time. Right. September 12th, 11th, Ethiopian New Year, all that. You know what I'm saying? So what is official spring time New Year's really begin. Okay. So this is kind of like the warming up to it. That we done seen all kind of stuff going on, for people jumping on judges to you name it. Okay. From the border crisis, you name it. Okay. But yeah, but we still got that eclipse, April 8th, coming up this year. Total solar eclipse that make that X. Okay, so be on the lookout. If not right before that, weeks before that, definitely weeks or months after that. All right. Just remember how 2017 played out when it came across that time, around I think August. So anyway, so I want to start now. Going to open it get into a video. It's live. Going to this presentation going to be called Asian sheep's head wrasse, and Tiara's law. So recently, for those who don't know, and one of y'all have maybe seen my little short I had explaining how, you have clownfish, you have fish that can change their sex at will, right? Or for certain reasons, they're able to change their sex. So you have a good amount of hermaphrodite fish. So you have two in particular, clownfish, that do it a lot, spelled the same way as clown. Then you have the Asian sheepshead wrasse that I just found out about that one. Those species just about maybe yesterday or 2 days ago. But I think a couple others. But anyway, somebody had shared that how I think they usually go from female to male, and use it for breeding, similar to how clownfish go from where there's not enough females around, the males can go from male to female. So when this person I think I was on Twitter, and the guy explained, because I think the channel, the Twitter page was like Nature is Amazing, and they were sharing, just a clip of the animal and how it was helping this deep diver thing. He had a little scuba equipment on, and he was, hitting something with a hammer, and the fish was trying to, help it, do stuff and all. But anyway, and someone under that explained how they was, hermaphrodite, right? There's a certain kind of hermaphrodite, but still hermaphrodite. And I put up under how they were other fish that do change sex as well, too. And you had people came under there was like, oh wow, they didn't even know that certain fish could do that. A lot of fish could do that. So yeah, and it was like, well, that means trans is part of nature, I guess, isn't it? Yeah, of course, that's what one's been saying. You have other animals, and also homosexuality is as well, or what they call homosexuality is a part of nature as well, right? Is in nature as well. So yeah, just said put that out there that for those who want to say that it's not natural or you can't change your sex, it's impossible. You have plants, You have the herb marijuana plant that changes its sex. I think it goes from what, female to male or male to female. Then you have fish. You have other animals as well, but a lot of fish are known to do that. Reptiles and fish and stuff, they're known to be like that. So yeah, okay. I mean, happy. So yeah, but once I say, oh, that's unnatural. That's unnatural. You can't do this. You can't change your sex. Woo, woo. Well, another example of that happening. Okay, and it's been happening before chemicals. All right, but before all these modern new age chemicals, before the 20th century, 18th century, 17th century, since the days of Aristotle, this has been recorded amongst nature, amongst animals. Okay, from the fish on down, and primarily homosexuality definitely was recorded. Okay, within animals during that time, days of iniquity, right? I mean, excuse me, antiquity. I'm thinking about iniquity, antiquity. So, yeah, yeah. So that's it's natural, uh, and because the hormonal levels, sexual organs, and hormones and chromosomes deals with sex. So ones can get a sex, because when people think sex change or you have sex hormonal therapy or whatever, that's still dealing with sex too. People forget that it's already taking hormones, so that's also changing your sex. When you change your hormonal levels, it becomes that of a female, or that of close to, or that of the average, sometimes higher than the average male or the average female. So you're changing your sex doing that. Then you have ones who are born with an extra Y, an extra X. All right, a trisomy, so called a trisomy. Have two X's and one Y, two Y's and one X. And men and women, cis men and cis women, have the same hormones but at different levels. So men have the ability to cry because we have estrogen. We don't cry as much, and we shouldn't be crying as much, but we do have that ability. We can cry because we have, let me think this, a little bit of estrogen. Women get horny sometimes. Sometimes they get horny. Not usually as horny or as often as men, but they do, so they could help to, I guess, have babies and get pregnant. So they have a little bit of testosterone, so they could kind of connect with us on that level. Because if they did not, they could not. So we cry, so we have this estrogen, so we could kind of connect with them. We have a little bit of softness within us, all right? Because men and women both have the same hormones, just at different levels. And this is something that people fail to either remember or have not been told or taught in this society, right? All right. Some of the most, confident, smart, aleck, guys don't know this about being a male, being men. They don't know that. I've known of doctors who specialize in the field of hormonal, when it comes to sex and hormones, who had to school adults, my age and older, about, you know, about that being a reality, right? That's being the truth. That men and women both have the same hormones, just at different levels, all right? Yeah, yeah. So we could, because men and women are so different the way we think, but there has to be a little bit of her and me, and a little bit of me and her, for us to even sometime, you know, to say, what, to come together, because we would just be completely alien to one another. She could not understand at any point in moment. You know what? I got the feeling, baby. I got the feeling. Or I'm thinking with logic. She has to somehow, be able to at least sometime make okay. There's this thing called logic. I know what that is. I know what that is. You know what I'm saying? She's overruled by emotions, but she's like, okay, I know what it is. You know, she's still gonna be loyal to her emotions, but she understands what logic means, because if she was just fully completely estrogen, had no testosterone, she probably wouldn't able. Okay, yeah, it's this thing called logic. All right. So yeah, I mean, but we trade off, on that. But we also have a little bit of this, and a little bit of that in us. You know what I mean? So just like most people, they're going to be even Republican, Democrat. You're going to be a little bit of a Democrat, whether you realize it or not, and probably a whole lot of Republican. You're going to be a lot of Republican and probably have a little bit of Democrat, and you probably don't realize it. Or what people want to call Democrat, but just things that you adhere to that you don't think is really that bad of a thing anymore. You don't think that marijuana is such a bad thing anymore. But that usually associated with being a Democrat. But you have Republicans who are like, hey, just legalize it, right? And usually, younger, and they, hey, it doesn't harm anybody, and with the wool, right? But and you have some Democrats, some who is like, yeah, okay, yeah, you shouldn't be that strict about guns. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it is, it's all right. It's also gonna be right. And then we have the border issue. Yeah, you know what? Forget about Democrat, Republican. We need to get this thing, this border thing handled. All right. So yeah, okay. So it has to be some kind of common ground. Like, okay, yeah, you might be Democrat, Republican, but we all got this thing called borders, right? And we need to protect them, right? So yeah, you might be a man or woman, but we both have this thing called testosterone and estrogen. You know what I mean? You just have a little bit more of it. I have it, but we still got this understanding where we can, we know what we need to, come together, or we see a little bit of her in us. She see a little bit of her, you know what I mean? So anyway, that being said, that's with that, man, and showing people that whether you understand trans people or not, trans are really not that much different. You feel me? It's like we all have a little bit of trans in us. Trans have a little bit of cis. Like we all have a little bit of something, within us. Whether we reject it, we can reject it, we cannot like it, but we all share some kind of common ground. It's just like when I go into like martial arts, I was correcting somebody on my Facebook channel about, how because people, contrary to popular belief, they were saying, was watching this video of these Asian girls. I think it was doing Kempo karate, and it was doing a little demonstration, and it was a brother, I guess you say FBA, seemed to be FBA or Foundation of Black American or Black, whatever, Israelite. But he had said, was it fun fact or fact that Americans do not have a homeborn martial arts or a homegrown martial arts. And I was like, yeah, you got the 52 blocks, and you have the knock and kicking style from the 52 hand blocks or jailhouse rock of New York. Then you have the knock and kicking style, the knocking and kicking style of the Geechee Gullah of South Carolina. So he replied, well, that's just, 52 blocks is just, was inspired by Asian martial arts from Wing Chun. It was inspired by, Wing Chun. I'm like, and I gave him from the horse's mouth that it's not inspired by Wing Chun. It's more, if you want to compare it to something, to another Asian martial art, it would be like Muay Thai, because they both, started in prison, right? 52 blocks originated in prison, and Muay Thai, but Muay Thai did as well. Close quarter in the cell, like cell block 52, in that. But using your elbows or blocking and stuff like that. So it might look Wing Chun-ish, but it's not. But even with that, so I dropped that. They kind of, went back, kind of fell back. Was like, oh well, what I meant to say that, like what he said, that it's no inspired, failed to have a non Eastern or non-foreign inspired martial art or whatever like that. But before he put that, I put how, and what I'm getting at when it comes to trans and all this, like I say, everything's connected, that all art is inspired from another source. Like all inspiration, it's not really art if you don't find the inspiration outside of yourself or from other places. The inspiration came from something else. As the saying goes, a good artist copies, a great artist steal. And then if you know about the history or our story concerning the martial arts, like other stuff, uh, karate come out of Egypt. You had Mas Oyama who had the book What is Karate, and he even said that the first depiction of the blocks and throws and kicks and punch that you will see the basic movements in karate. And Mas Oyama was the founder of Kyokushin Karateka. It was Korean. He had the book. He said, it was found in the hieroglyphics. You'll find it in Egypt. So the hieroglyphics in Egypt, that's where you find this. So even karate, where that comes from. And then you got even Shaolin Kung Fu, comes from an Indian monk named Bodhidharma, and Indian martial arts is called Kalari, which sounds similar to Kalari, and we know where the East Indians come from. They come from out of East Africa, and that's where Egypt is at in East. So, like I said, there's no supreme style, like Bruce Lee said. There's that one source. All these styles are variations of the one source. So the trans person, the black person, the non-black person, the whatever, is different variations of that source. So whether you like it or not, you have to at least, well, I don't like this, but you know what? I have to admit that this came from the source. If it wasn't for the source, this would have never happened. It's just like some say that the so-called white man is the lower self. That's the devil's self and all that. And you have ones who say, well, the so-called white man can raise himself from the low state to the God state, right? Or whatever like that. Everything comes from that source, whether good, bad, whatever, and whatever. It all comes from that source. You might not understand it. You might understand them, but they come from that source. And when you have a spiritual and a deep, real good spiritual enlightenment, you will see that in nature and everything. So what I'm going into now with that is dealing with this, law that was passed in Colorado, Tiara's law. And I know y'all familiar with Megan's law and the controversy surrounding, that. Oh man, and like I said, how things are connected, man. How it's the synchronicities but who is named after is a trans woman, Tiara Kelly, who she helped to pass, and my wife knows her. We know her. She helped to pass a law in Colorado that makes it easier for convicted felons to change their name. So it's not just only applies to trans people or trans women; it's also for convicted felons. To be able to change. So change your name in Colorado. So of course there was opposition. There's people who are saying, hey, this is just only going to be for people who are going to try to harm children, this, that, and other, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And I do understand people's sentiments on that, and especially what's going on in this country right now with the board. I understand. But what people have to realize, and I understand some people might say, well, felons are not, still don't have the right to vote, I guess, in some states, still don't have the right to keep and bear arms and get hit with this thing, this label of felon, even after serving your time. And now this is being, but not when it comes to things that are a right that is in the Constitution. I understand all that. But the thing is, and I do believe that, like I said, trans people should. My wife agree with me this on now. She just out the blue just said it too. But I was saying it kind of years ago that like the Hijras in India, they kind of police themselves and saying, hey, if you're a Hijra or a eunuch or trans, you had to come through these, I guess, particular houses or groups. So when somebody who out there claim to be trans, they're doing some outlandish stuff, and we go check them and say, well, hey, do you know such and such? Do you know something? Like, nope. Hey, he had a dude who was portraying themselves as a Hijra to get money because they used to stay on the street and, people give them money, as good fortune over there because it's still a part of the religion, right? Even though there's stigma to it, which is kind of working is starting to get better for them in India. Last time I checked, but it's still, uh, yeah, things like that. They could, do weddings and things like that. So you have people who try to capitalize on who are not Hijras, who are not trans, and who's out there getting money. And people report and say, I don't think that, and they'll go there, check them, and say, hey, beat them up, put them in the van, take their clothes off. You ain't no trans, you ain't no eunuch, you not no Hydra. Hey, get your behind out of here. So, yeah, they handle that, and and so people won't think that all Hydras or all trans, whatever, is doing this or doing that. There's some kind of, you feel me? But I do understand people's argument of not wanting that, because when people are complex, people should have freedoms and all that. I understand both sides. I tell people when I say stuff, I understand the yin and yang arguments from both sides, and it's really no one fits all solution. But there are some things that you could do to kind of make it, better, right? Because you're gonna have people gonna hate you regardless, but you kind of can safeguard yourself from certain things. That's all I'm saying. Um, but yeah, but the law was passed, and you have people. One woman, she had to be removed, I think, from the committee they had about it, and she was just saying stuff, going crazy, misgendering, uh, saying a lot of stuff, in there, and they removed her. And I'm all for people having their opinions and feeling, their grievances on things that they think that might not be good or that can bring, but certain that can cause certain thing harm to happen to people and children. But what I do understand too, that people use children to control people. They use black people. They use illegal immigrants to take away people's rights, uh, of privacy, of freedom. Okay, and there have been cases of people who identified as trans or call themselves trans who have done stuff to children. And have ones who have spoken out against it, and they are doing time uh, for that. But there are people who have not. The vast majority of people who are trans have not. So, like I say, one bad apple can spoil a whole bunch. Because in any group, you're going to have your bad guys and gals. So you shouldn't try to use people's progressing in their rights as human rights to say, because of what these few have done, to say they shouldn't get this. Um, like I said, you could use it when come to 2A. You have people who use a gun for bad stuff, but not everybody use a gun for bad stuff. Not everybody change their names because they want to rob banks, because they want to kill people, because they want to do stuff to children or harm children. Not everybody who goes in the bathroom wants to do something to someone other. You get them. So, but I do understand people's concern. But like I say, a lot of times, sometimes people use these type of situations to really implement their hate, or really to hide their hate. Just saying, I'm just about keeping people safe. I'm not against guns. I just want to keep the children safe. I'm not against trans. I just want to keep the children safe. I'm not against people transition. I just want to keep the children. And then, like I said, here comes, okay, this law banning it for these children. And then a couple years later, here comes a law banning it for adults. We see in UK they're banning knives right now. So eventually it becomes that. But what I want to try to say, like, everybody is connected, man. People have to stop being in fear. The fear mongering. Trans people gaining certain rights. Trans children gaining certain rights, and parents of trans children being able to have say so should not be make people feel fearful that trans people are just going to want to attack you because they're trans, or that someone is harming a trans child because they're giving them hormones. And then I mentioned too how stopping hormonal therapy also affects, just like gun control affects the law-abiding citizen, it doesn't affect the criminals. Harm, uh, stopping hormonal therapy for parents to their child also hurts children who just want to take it for growth hormones. They want to take hormones to grow. My mother, who, rest in peace, who was definitely against trans, uh, I mean, well, not later on in her life, but in early on, when I was a teen, uh, suggested I take growth hormones because I had a, issue, growing, right? Getting, with my height. And that plagued me for years. So what the scientists did would have affected, me, and does affect, but y'all don't care about that as long as, and then y'all blind to the fact, oh, I can't get this, I can't get that, because you're so focused on, yeah, the trans. Hold on, did he say growth? I mean, hormonal treatment. So that means, oh wow, if I have a child who have a heart, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. But I never took, the growth hormones because I just accepted, like, hey, you know. But for some people, it actually worked for them. It actually made their life better. But for me, I didn't feel like I had to be, 7 feet tall at that time in my life to be like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, hey, yeah, it could make this easier for this, could make it easier for that. But you know what? I've been able to get by doing this, been able to get by doing that. Hey, boom. You know what I mean? And some days I might still feel like, hey, I wish I could have, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, I live my life. I've been living life getting, doing very well and good without being, 6 feet tall. Okay. So we're getting, women, we're getting money. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Uh, being respected, without being that. So, I mean, hey, but it's people that it didn't, isn't their story. My story is not their story, and them taking that actually worked out for them. All right, and their children, right? So, and I knew some people who wish they could have been short. I had a friend of mine who said he was tired of being tall because every time he get in his car, he go in the buildings, he get tired of ducking. So, he probably will want something to help him, bring down the, So everybody is different. Okay. Um, there's that. And some people might want to take hormones for different reasons. All right, their child might need it for different reasons. Their child is getting picked on because of their height, you know, uh, and they're getting jumped on because of their height, you know. So not everybody who is, doing is. I mean, like I say, everything is connected. Everyone is connected. You're thinking, well, this is not going to affect me because, hey, shalom, war fam. Yeah. And that's me and my wife, 6th anniversary too. So our 6 year anniversary. So we doing it big. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing good, doing good. I'm doing real good. It's me and my wife, 6th anniversary. So I ain't mentioned you earlier in live, but I think I mentioned about you. What we had talked about with the fish on my short about the fish and all that. And if you go back earlier in this live, I covered a lot of ground with this with the other fish, the Asian sheep's head wrasse fish that also changes from, I think, female to male. But I was going in, I covered that and a lot of stuff. But yeah, all right, yeah, and there's a Sabbath yesterday, all that, and yeah, it's just, unique time. So I covered about 2024 and the things that happened and everything connected. I covered a lot early. We got 29 minutes in the first. I was going in anyway, but I'm about to continue going in now. But so thank you, yeah, happy anniversary, thank you. Anyway, so but yeah, so everything's connected. So when people do stuff that they think is just affecting this law or me opposing this law when it comes to uh, not Megan's law but Tiara's law, which I say like my wife, good friend of my wife, but the law that's named after Tiara in Colorado, uh, is good. But like I said, I understand people's concern, but you got to understand that your transphobia affects everybody. All right, it can affect your homophobia, transphobia affects people who are not trans. It affects people who are not gay. it affects everybody. Okay, because you don't really understand what implications, repercussions this can have down the line, because you're just thinking, oh yeah, get rid of, and you didn't really listen to what DeSantis said. You didn't really listen to what this person really said. Democrat, Republican, whoever it is, you didn't really listen to what they said when it came to gun control. You didn't really listen to what they said or didn't say when it comes to controlling hormones, hormonal therapy treatment for trans children. Because you're blinded by your hate, you can't see left or right that, this could affect me. Someone who people might mistake them for being gay because of X, Y, and Z, they are denied these rights. Somebody who might have a trans look, they get denied certain rights because people might suspect them of being trans. Prime example of DJ Scott, this girl who was called DJ Scott. I think she was on the Baddies show, something like one of the Baddies TV reality shows. I think it'd be on the Zeus Network. And there was a clip of her. She was crying after this because it's really hurt her. It was a clip of her crowd surfing, I think, in the club. They was having her up, and I think her skirt had got loose, right? The part of the where the crouch area had got loose. But if you kind of just see it real quick, it looks like, oh, she might have something down there, right? Her tuck is coming out, right? So people was throwing these rumors that, oh, she's all those girls on that show, all of them are men and all of them are trans, and oh, I knew it. And people were like, man, this is a full-blown female, man. This is a full-blown, what y'all doing? And, that really hurt her. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, people don't consider themselves transphobic, but when people do stuff like that and they so fearful of what they don't understand, or they just hate this or hate that, that you're throwing, it's basically like you're a blind person with a knife just swinging. You don't see who or care who you're swinging at. You hate whoever you hate so much, you don't even care whether you can see it or not. The first thing that sounds like or looks like something, barely looks like something that you don't like, oh, I knew it. Like, hold on. That was one of us. Friendly fire. Friendly fire. Assess the situation. And don't and get rid of the hate. You can dislike something all day, but get rid of the hate. And ask yourself, why do I hate? And do I really hate it so much? Okay? Because now it's just like a thing of pillows. Oh, let me read this. Okay, Hero Fan, I agree with you and everything. Have you ever watched Truth Edited and Watchmen Report? Yeah, I love them, but their views on homosexuality is ignorant. Yeah, I think I have watched Truth and Edited. Sound familiar? And Watchmen Reports. I think that's with this sister called Deborah. I don't want to say people's name. I think it's I can't remember the husband's name, but I think they like out of Michigan somewhere, but they had like a homestead or something. And I think I'm familiar with but let me know if I got the ones right. But I know, yeah, who you talk about. But if Watchmen Reports, it might not be them. I might be missed, but I think Watchmen. I think that's the thing is like America. But if that's them, I know certain people because if that's them, they might did a video calling out people about that. Too, about people just saying, "Oh, Michelle Obama is trans and this one is trans and all that stuff like that," without any, proof. You know what I mean? Uh, but yeah, but those I'm pretty sure they're Hebrew Israelite channel. I think I've seen them, but yeah, and that's the thing. Like people, when it comes to that, a lot of people are ignorant, man. I'm not saying a lot, but a good amount of people. And I starting to see that some people are kind of coming around. Yeah, okay, that's them. Yes, right with the names. Okay, yeah. So, Truth Ed, I probably go to that back there, but Watchmen Report. I think the the guy's wife is Deborah. And like I say, I found some stuff about them too. I'm not gonna really go into that on this live because that'll be a whole. But dealing with with homosexuality and trans and stuff. Like I said, oh man, I could go. I could really. I don't want to cause no beef, no drama, but I could really go in. I really could. Oh, I really could go in because people have went in. Already for me, exposing certain things about. Okay, I'm gonna just say when it comes to hand gestures on down. But I had issues with them even before homosexual. Like I had little, mainly with the the wife, because when it comes to polygyny, when it comes to certain things about men going abroad to seek wives. I didn't like her views on that. Okay, um, and especially brothers who was going to countries getting Israelite wives, but from uh, happen to be in South America and all that. Okay, you said yes, I do share your view. Okay, thank you, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, heroic fan. I appreciate it, so much. You know what I mean? And I do post on Facebook and stuff. Like I said, I'm planning to try to go hard as I can this year. I try to find time, like I say, as much time as I can when I can. I had a lot of things happen last year and this year, and just finding that time. So I'm able. Then I'll be doing repairs around the house. I'll be doing stuff. So, and then being married too. But yeah. So, but I appreciate it. Anywhere you can, anybody who can share it, I appreciate it. But yeah, so people, like I say, people can have their views. I'm not here to really try to make someone. I guess, like I said, I used to be like, I try to make them respect, and I feel like that. As long as you respect me, it's good. You don't have to agree with my, me liking trans women or fully accepting trans women or trans men. But it's just think, okay, can you at least say man? Can you at least say woman? Because when it comes to people, as they mentioned, as they know, when it comes to female bodybuilders is a prime example. And I mentioned before in my other videos, sometimes trans attracted men we have things for female bodybuilders, but not just trans attracted men. Guys do. But you have guys who say women are too fat. They need to train. They need to work out. They looking sloppy. So then when you find women who have muscle, who works out, they complain about that. And they start calling men. Oh, those guys, because you have these female bodybuilders, they take testosterone, they take, hormones or growth hormone or, male hormones, right? And people mention too, like steroids of the 80s and the 90s, not the steroids or enhancement. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I don't blame you for not having Facebook. That's good. I ain't want one for you. For one for I'm probably telling too much, but one for certain situations where that I guess I was blessed with that today, I would have had I probably would have Facebook by now anyway either. But yeah, I definitely don't blame because I'm telling you, like, yeah. So yeah, hero fan, yeah. So, but if it wasn't, yeah, like I said, yeah, these same women who work out, who are biological females and women. These same guys who say, I'm not going to call a trans woman a woman because that's still a man. I'm not going to call this trans man a man. That's still a woman. That's still a female. You can't change it. When they see a female bodybuilder, and somebody else called it on the comment section too, in one of the videos I was watching, because I was on my little female bodybuilder binge that night, most of them from Brazil. And yeah, and was, calling it out like, yeah, here y'all are, the same people who don't want to call trans women who want to be called women. Y'all want to call them women, but women who are born, would you say, who are born women, identify as women, but because they have muscles and they take a little bit of, testosterone or the juice, that y'all freely call them men. So y'all would call a biological woman, biological female, a dude. Same thing to do with gays. Gays, flamboyant gay hates the girl, hey, gay, the gays, but when they transition, oh, I can't call you that. So when I'm making fun of you, I can call you a girl. But when you transition to a girl, say, hey, call me by this female pronoun, by my pronouns. Okay. Yeah, I got email, and either I do it in this video later or like later on. But yeah, you got email, you in Messenger. Oh yeah, if you're talking about Facebook Messenger, yeah, you could definitely do that if you have the Messenger. If that's what you're saying. So Facebook Messenger, James. So Yeah, you could definitely do that. No problem with the messenger. So my name is the same on here as it is on Facebook if you're talking about the messenger, but as long as you go by. But I'll put my email later on after this. I guess you remind me I'll put it. But understand. So yeah. So they love to use those scriptures like that about. You said okay. You said they love to use that scripture. Men and women should be together. Okay, and you mean you talking about in Genesis, or you talking about because there's different ones they try to use to say uh, you talking about Leviticus 18, or you talking about like man should leave it should not I mean, or you talking about man and woman, a man should leave his wife and they should claim but they use many different things, but when we hit them with what the scripture's really saying and the context of it, and people who lived back then and show what it really meant and the context and the proper. Oh yeah, the marriage scripture. Yeah. Okay, and it's like, and yeah, right. They used that, and Yeshua used it too. And I said Matthew 19:12, and right before that, he's talking about you. Yeah, he's talking. After that, he mentions, I believe, eunuchs after he's talking about marriage. So when they mention marriage and this and other, he talks about people that that might not apply to in that way, and here they are. You know what I'm saying? Who are a little different. But yeah, so they miss a lot of stuff. They said they don't catch that. It's like, oh yeah, he's talking about eunuchs. Like, why would he mention eunuchs when they asking him about marriage? Okay, like why he gonna mention them? So eunuchs born from their mother's womb, and eunuchs is like, I'm talking about men and women coming together. And he said, whoever can receive, not all men can receive this same. Just like now. Okay? Just like, people back then, they didn't know about fish probably changing their sex. They knew about the animals being homosexuality, but not all of them were hip to that. Then you had people who was ignorant about certain things then. And you had people who was very knowledgeable about stuff then. Socrates was a good, he made a good points about he didn't feel like everybody should have the right to vote because a lot of people don't make good choices. A lot of people just followers and not critical thinkers. Just like now, you have people who are sound so smart and sound so intelligent. You can't change your sex. Oh, because you got a penis and you got this and you got that. Yeah, fool and woo. And then you say, well, what about clownfish? What about this? What about that? Oh, for real? Fish can change their sex? Yeah, you have fish that can change their sex. Have you ever heard about the Asian sheepshead wrasse? Have you ever heard about clownfish? Have you ever heard about amphibians and this, that, and the other? Have you ever heard about? I mean, yeah, lizards and stuff that can change, that can uh, give birth without males. Have you ever heard, parthenogenesis? Have you ever heard of this? No, they haven't. But they claim to be experts. They claim to know science. They claim to know biology, and they don't know nothing. So it's just like you wouldn't want the majority of people to dictate to you what doctor would be the best for you to have for a surgery. When it comes to politics and when it comes to certain things, everybody probably shouldn't vote on that because they're not that informed. They're not educated. Most people we see with the smartphone and technology, most people won't even look this stuff up. They'll go by what the pork chop preacher or some indoctrinated teacher somewhere is telling them, has told them, and they'll conduct themselves and make choices that affect themselves and other people based off that. There's border issues, a prime example of that. A lot of stuff like people just, they don't think for me. Okay, most people are lazy. They don't want to. They don't want to. They're not free thinkers. All right. Some of us are, but the majority of people they can easily like AI been here before. AI been here before. AI been here. A lot of people, you could tell them the truth to their face unless they get it through they pork chop preacher, unless they get it through the other programs or the other players or the other soulless awakened beings teach it to them that they trust to inform them. They're not going to they're not going to act on it. They're not going to believe it. They're not going to do it. AI robots only do what it's programmed to do. So if you don't have the right code, I guess, or they just not going to accept it. It's not coming through the right. So yeah, most people are just not, and that could be one of the biggest challenges um, for humanity. So yeah, okay, but yeah. So with trans, with the law, with Tiara's law, I don't went off to some other, but with Tiara's law, people have to understand that you can't, when it comes to that, the children, when it comes to felons, that really, if you don't, it's really about being a felon, period. It's not about Tiara's law. It's not about, it's really about, like I say, felons should not be out on the street if they can't be trusted. I don't believe in people should be still called felons after they have already did their time. It's like nobody's get called misdemeanor for serving time for misdemeanor. So I don't feel like people should be still called felons because they committed a felony and they actually did time for it. Or it was a non-violent offense too, a non-violent felony, and they're still being labeled a felon, right? I feel like you should be bestowed rights like everyone else regarding that, right? So yeah, like everybody else. So yeah, and just be able to have your rights bestowed upon you when you release. If you're free, you're free. But that's kind of what I wanted to say on that, man. I kind of went, off wherever like that. I mean, not off, excuse me, Salakia. It kind of went, on and on and on, longer than I was kind of expected doing. But yeah, just trying to tell people out there in Colorado, whatever, that people got to see that everyone is connected, man. Everything is connected. Everyone is connected. Uh, when you sometimes fight so hard against something and you don't really know that much about it, you have to ask yourself why. Why do you feel that way about it? Why? And is that feeling, it does it make logical sense, or is it based off of fear and emotion? Because like I said before, people think stuff make logical sense, but then when you mention things that are truth and fact and exact, like there's plenty of fish in the sea that can change their sex for reasons, like I said, when there's not enough males or not enough females, they change their sex, etc. And they say, well, that's impossible. You can't do it. It doesn't happen, and and it's against God, and it's against nature, and that, is it really sound? Is it coming from a real sound place, or is it coming from a place of ignorance and fear, okay, and hatred, okay? And yeah, they're gonna take this away, they're gonna take that away. And unless you actually see that happening, or you have historical evidence, like I don't think there's never been a group of trans people on this planet that have taken a bunch of people's land and children away from them, right? So, like with the border crisis, okay, we know, people known to invade, take people's, stuff and all that, right? And take their land, take their country and all that. But I don't think, we can have ever found a nation of trans people. There's trans people who's like, we're gonna we're gonna just conquer and overthrow a bunch of cisgender people and like you know, rip, rape the heck out of them. I can't use that. Oh Lord, rape the heck out of them. Do this and do that and blah 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 blah. And that just be that, right? We never seen that. I can't recall it. I've never seen it, right? So yeah, a lot of it's just on your fear. It's just your fear. Oh, they trying to take all the straight men. They're trying to do all this. They're trying to do that. They're trying the babies. Like you just haven't seen it. And people mention too, because I'm familiar with the Second Amendment or two-way community, right? The gun tubers, all that. You have a guy, Yankee Marshall, and he mentioned uh, because he accepts everybody, right? He's a Gentile white guy, but he accepts everybody into, very inclusive. And he called BS on. He don't care who it is, but he mentioned how like a lot of people who say that they therefore having guns, they want everybody to have guns except when it comes to LGBT, they're not so gun, pro gun then. And then he mentioned about drag queen, how people talk about kids don't need to go to drag shows because drag queens can molest them and the drag and all this kind of stuff. And he said, well, he haven't found one essay case of a drag queen ever doing that to a child. But what he has seen is clowns doing it, and clowns, you'll have a problem taking children to go play, for clowns to touch them, and it's a lot of cases of clowns doing it, and they paint their face and they do stuff, and you're not passing law keeping children from going to the circus, but you're passing laws to keep children from going to a drag shows, which no drag queen has ever been arrested for child molestation, but you don't fear your child going to the circus, where numerous cases of clowns throughout history today have been arrested for doing just that. So, like I say, it's based off of fear and not fact. All right. So, and God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of what? Sound mind, power. So a lot of people claim they believe in God. I trust in Jesus. I trust in Yeshua. And you don't if you in fear. If you fear the unknown, if you fear stuff regarding the truth, and that's really where it comes from. So what is your argument other than fear and ignorance? What is it? What is it? But like I said, a lot of people, okay, are you, see, okay, yeah, true. Yeah, true. Yeah, amen. True that. Con, you know what I'm saying? So, uh, the truth is the truth, and it stands the test of time. Like I said before, they can talk all this stuff, but trans people are always here. Trans people gonna always is still here. It's gonna continue to be here because we in the time age of Aquarius. That's where we at. And just like Aquarius, aquarium, the fish changing their sex. Okay, the Pisces was the fish. We're coming from the age of Pisces to Aquarius. You had the fish, Yeshua. Fish known to change their sex. Like I said, the color purple. Yeshua had on purple. All right, and we do know the other ones who had on, the other one who had on purple too. But staying with Yeshua, purple, all that, the male and female, red and blue together, male and female, purple, all that. So, and that symbol, the Vesica Pisces symbol, and what that symbolizes, okay? So much that it symbolizes. And then with Age of Aquarius, the water bearer. So the man that had the water, that was bearing the water, pointed out, he told the disciples, said, go to that man at the gate, and that's what we're going to keep Passover. I think it's Luke, Luke 24, right time. Said, this is what we're going to keep Passover. And people didn't catch it that was a gender bending situation, because only the women carried pitchers of water in Oriental communities of that time. All right, so Rome, the Hebrew culture, women only carried water. So that would have been a sight to see. Hold on, a man carrying hold on, what? You weren't gonna miss that, and you couldn't miss it. So that's equivalent to a man wearing a purse today, or wearing lipstick in a purse. Like that was kind of, but and that was the scenes doing, and the scene set, which later on became the Gibeonites, or the younger version became the Gibeonites. They didn't really marry. The scenes didn't marry. Very esoteric, mystic sect of our ancestors Hebrews, and they kept certain things to themselves, kind of secret and everything like that. But it was for the runners of Christ, and prophesying of Christ of coming or returning, coming to this earth incarnate. So John the Baptist is associated with him, such and such. But like that, yeah, doing that, they didn't marry, so they had to do the roles that women usually did, because they didn't believe in getting married. If they did, they were on the Gibeonites. The woman had to at least go to like maybe 3 to 7 years of initiation. Because being married to such a man who rejects the world like that, it's not going to be easy for most women. They're going to distract you and keep you, like I mentioned before, Uh, uh, I think it was we had mentioned before about the 100, 44,000, and these are men, not defiled with women and all that. So, but yeah, and similar to priests, it was keeping the whole priestly order thing going on too, but in the sense of Melchizedek, because even the Levite priests, if they married a wife and her husband had passed, she had to marry a former priest, and he had to be Levite. He had to be a former priest. So now that was for particularly for the Levites. So I think she had to be a virgin. She wasn't a virgin. Her husband, she had to be married to her husband. He had to be a priest because she understands. Hey, why I'm up this time of night doing this? Okay, like hey, I'm not annoying you. Okay, I'm doing the work of Yah, and that's not keep putting Yah first, as the scripture said, as the epistle says, referring to scriptures. The married man, when the single man focuses on the things of God, how he can please God, but the married man focuses on the things of the world, how he can please his wife, and it says that like that for the married woman. So when you're single, everything God, come for, and then it's like, yeah, all right, I gotta get this for my wife. It's this time, and I gotta do it for you know what I'm saying. How you start thinking about and kind of not balancing that, but still putting your God and Yeshua first before everything, and having a woman that really understands that, like a pastor's wife, all that got to be so. But kind of going. So they had to do that because, like I say, they didn't really deal with the marriage and the women and stuff like that. So that was a sign, and right there. All right. But that was kind of talking about the age of Aquarius that we're going to go into. Okay. Even though, yeah. So Aquarius, aquarium, even though it's air symbol, but associated with water, a sign, but associated with water. But that's where we're going into. So when I return, okay, it's going to be Aquarius time. All right. And it's going to be the time of the unit. So you're going to see a lot of this going on. You're going to see the men going around here, as it says, I think in the Gospel of Thomas, when the male becomes the female and the female becomes the male, then that's when the kingdom. If I'm paraphrasing, that's when the kingdom is near. When the kingdom is coming, when you see these kind of things, that's when the kingdom is here near now. So yeah, I think it's saying of Yeshua, I think 21 to 20 in the Gospel of Thomas. So yeah, that's esoteric, and that's associated with these scenes as well. And a lot of those sayings is also in the Beatitudes. Beatitudes, some say come from, but yeah. So like I said, there's a lot that I could unravel, I could put out, and that's been hidden and stuff. But I'll be, whew. But yeah, yeah. So a lot of that is, is fear. And when Yeshua said about eunuchs and eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake, and what he has for uh, eunuchs and trans and all that. People they want to turn a blind eye because it feels, you know, like heaven. It feels like the lie feels close to heaven, and the truth feels close to hell. I've known people who was like, oh well, I'm gonna just hold on. I'm gonna on the safe side. I'm gonna say all the animals on the ark were just only being with females, and the females only being with the males, or not. I'm gonna just say it because I'm like, we don't know if there were the males trying to get with the males animals or the female. We don't, but we know that most of them, most animals, practice, or they say practice homosexuality. So I'm not saying they were. I'm just saying they could have been. But just because I suggest the idea that could have been a fact either on the ark or after the ark, they'll try to hit you with the whole, blasphemy thing, because they want to be on the safe side. But there's no safeness in the truth. All right. There's, when it comes to the truth, it's the truth. There is no safety net when it comes to the truth. All right. So suggesting that this could be a possibility because it just is. It's within nature. So if you will admit one end is in nature, then that means, and it's always been, well, it could have been during the time of Noah as well. Okay. But yeah, people use a lot of things, this, that, and other, blah, 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 and a man should leave his father, mother, cleave to his wife to become one flesh, and all that. And people get that misconstrued even when it comes to polygyny. How you can still be one flesh and have more than one wife, as the prophets and ones did. How you can still be one flesh and still have a wife that was, like, you're one, and how you're still a woman and you're still a man, and how that can still apply then. It's just like amphibians. Amphibians, are like mentioned in Genesis. We hear about them in Exodus. So, I mean, are they a not concept? Are they an offspring of something that's ungodly because we don't hear about them in Genesis? And if people really read Genesis, most biblical scholars tell you that Adam was an androgyne because, like I said, you get the female out of the male. So, like I said earlier in the live, I went into also to how men and women both have the same hormones, just at different levels. So this is symbolic of in the beginning we were one, okay? But after the split, after the Adam or the Egyptologists like to say atom was split, we got Eve, okay? So we both share a commonality of both within us. But in the beginning, it was all in one. All right. So Adam was androgynous. So you could find this. So you could just Google it and say Adam androgynous, and all the biblical scholars who are not pro-trans, who are not pro-LGBT, says that Adam was androgynous. So all these people, they got it wrong. Common sense. It's just common sense. That's why I said it's just common. But it's the religion. I don't care if they're Hebrew. I don't care if they're Christian. It's that religion and the things that was put on us to believe that the people who are going to be called, going to have a better name than sons and daughters, are an abomination. Who have keys, who going to be the gatekeepers of who gets in and who doesn't. Those who keep my laws, as in units to keep his laws, or who get in, who don't get in. I don't know what just happened to my comments and chat. Okay, or who gets in and don't get in will be looked at as demons, as we looked at as bad. And as we know, Yeshua said, many will come to me in that day saying, Lord, we cast out devils in your name. Lord, we did this in your name. And we did. And he said, depart from me, you works of iniquity. I never knew you. Y'all, I don't know. Yeah, I never knew you. And they still don't get that mystery of that. What do you mean by that? Because I did it in your name. I did this in your name. What he talking about? They don't get that. And people gonna be like, well, how they get in? And they dressed as a, but I thought that was, but then somebody came and told you. You had the Clobber Passage documentary or a series that explained this to you. You had people from all walks of life showing you that no, I haven't forsaken them. I haven't thrown them away. I have not forgot. I love them. They have a place with me. But you didn't want to see it. It's like some people today, they still don't want to see that we are God's chosen people. That the natives of this land and scattered abroad, that we are God's chosen people. They still don't want to see that. They still don't want to believe that. A sister recently, if I say sister, she a Christian, she couldn't understand a brother who was breaking some of the stuff that I'm saying down. He wasn't not about, trans and all that, but at least about certain things about, God and the Bible, how everything's connected. She called that Gnosticism and all. She don't understand nothing. And I was like, yeah. And like the Bible said in was it not Matthew, but Daniel 12, the righteous shall understand this, okay, Daniel, but the wicked shall not understand. It's not even for you to understand, Daniel. And Daniel, like I said, it was eunuch, Daniel. It's not for you. It's for the ones that come later. They're gonna understand this, and the righteous gonna understand, but the wicked not gonna understand these things that are revealed during these times that we in now. So, but like I say, but since it's not packaged and they can't understand. So yeah, they're gonna but everything must be fulfilled. So I just want to kind of leave out with the thing of don't get discouraged when people oppose you, like the Beatitudes say, when people don't want to sit next to you in Luke 6, the Beatitudes, that's your blessing. When people, laugh now, those who laugh now will cry later. Those who cry now should laugh later, right? We're going to have the last laugh. The first should be last and the last should be first. So these things, these your ops or your enemies who come against you have to happen in order for these things to be fulfilled, in order for you to get your blessing. People know, say, man, all this stuff happening, man. It got to be a blessing somewhere. I had a lot of stuff going on last week. And I tell you, Lord, the Most High kept me and my wife strong. Us in this, and I tell you, got blessed. We got blessed, and we gonna continue to get blessed. Yesterday, so but let's just say some people try to get me off the foundation that y'all had laid for me to be on. But you have to keep it when things like that happen. Your blessing. So don't let these naysayers, don't let all these people who got weapons of physical weapons and fists and Bible passages, they don't know what they're talking about, to try to crucify you, because that's where the blessing comes from. They had to do the same thing to Yeshua. They had to do that, because that's where the blessing came from. They didn't know that they did what they were supposed to do. That's what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to reject them. They were supposed to spit at them. That's what they were supposed to do. So what they're doing, they shouldn't do, but they're supposed to do that so it could be fulfilled. People can learn a lesson, and that people can get their blessing. Certain people who are meant to get the blessing can get it. All right? There's to say it's a blessing in the messing, in the mess. So, diamond in the rough. And we have to, stay on that. So when these people do this, and we're trying to get as many as we can, but we understand everybody is not going to get it, and not going to be fully accepting of it, and not going to understand it, because, like I say, people who use what Christ used as spearhead of his ministry to use as a scapegoat for their sins would not be tolerated. Okay, would not be tolerated. I didn't think it's going to be like they want it to be, right? And like I said, they call Yeshua everything but the Son of God, but the Son of Yah. But those who knew, who was willing to go get their heads beheaded, was get rock thrown at them, there, everything for Yeshua's testimony, was blessed as well. Okay, was blessed. And Yeshua said, "No, great works I've done, and you're gonna do greater works than I've done." Okay, but yeah, that's just keep that in mind. That when it comes to Tiara's law, some of the people in Colorado got an issue with it. That's going to be not that much of an issue in y'all's kingdom. So just be firm and stand firm on what Yah really said concerning homosexuality, concerning trans and all that, and you'll have people looking crazy, closing the Bible on you, closing the book, blocking you, because they cannot intellectually and scripturally deal with what you're bringing. But yet they're supposed to be studied up. Oh well, brother, let's just be on the same side. Oh brother, let's just let's just what? I mean, I've done that. I mean, I've had people try to get their camp elders against me, and I said, well, come get them. It was a girl, a cis woman from one of them Hebrew camps. This is years ago. This was probably 2018, 19. I said, well, go get them. And she was in Jacksonville, so I said, go get them. Oh yeah, because you were the trans woman, and this, that, and the other. You going to da 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 da. I'm gonna go with that. And I said, go get them. Man, they didn't want to deal with me. And that was in 2018. I learned so much, and it came to they didn't want to deal with me then, because I had to smoke for them then. Oh, come, yeah, tell me, come on in my DM. They come on my Facebook. Yeah, I'm ready for them. All right, because I'm not worried about these camps being accepted by these camps and all these people. I'm worried about what Yah said, and the Most High put that in me years ago when it came to religion, whatever it came for. When I saw for myself and through the Holy Spirit guiding me through the truth, that's what it was. It wasn't about what pastors, this priest such and such said, and what this one said, and what this elder said, and all that kind of. It wasn't really. It was about what said Yah, and when I was very zealous when I was young. I know I'm kind of trying to end it, but when I was zealous when I was very young. I'm younger when I was first getting into knowing I was Israelite. And I was so zealous. I'm like, oh, can't nobody be a friend of God? Can't nobody be a friend of God? What kind of song is that? And rest in peace, to my mother. And because I ain't like that song. I'm a friend of God. I had a lot of knowledge, but I still didn't know certain verse scriptures. And my mother said, well, son, it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Through faith, Abraham became a friend of God. Became a friend. I said, Abraham. And when I went in there and I saw, I said, oh, well, maybe they ain't saying, it's probably not saying that. Maybe let me look into the Greek and the Hebrew. Dang, it actually do say that. So you know what I did? I swallowed my pride because it was easy because I was all about Yah. I said, so you know what? That's what y'all said. Abraham, yep, became a friend of God. But to me, that was, how can somebody become a friend of God? So I almost had a Pharisee or a Sadducee way of viewing, because when Yeshua said, the Son of God, God, like, how you being a man make yourself to be God? And Yeshua said, it ain't it written in your law that ye are God, choose the Most High. So you get what I'm saying? So you're gonna stone, because I say I'm the Son of God. Like, and the Bible says ye are gods. They try to stone him. So and like I say, that religion and all of that can cause you to miss out on your blessing, or to cause you to stone the one who come to bless you, because you can't let it go. Because that hypocrisy sound, like I say, is very comfortable, because you don't, the change is hard. The complacency, staying where you at, even though it's keeping you in bondage, is it's better than freedom, because it's comfortable in that. If you've never been outside your area, even though people in prison have been so institutionalized, prison is a good example. Slavery, prison, same thing. People who have been in bondage so long are fearful of the outside because they can't function. I don't know how to do all that, man. Well, I'm gonna just be in it right back here because da 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 da. So they rather stay in prison. I knew people like they rather stay in prison because everything is free. Even though, you got to watch your back. Even though somebody telling you when to do this, when to shower, all that stuff, because you kind of somewhat taken care of. On the outside, you're not taken care of. You don't know when you're gonna have to you got to work for all this. You know when you're gonna get your next meal. At least they got a free bed for you, free food. Might not be the best food, but hey, okay. Don't worry about no cable bill, no phone bill. You know what I'm saying? So even though all that hell that you're witnessing, it's still better than being struggling and being free. So it's like that with trains and getting people to get away of their religion, of their ideology, political indoctrination in school. Like, it's hard, it's hard. But like I say, with that being said, the only thing promising in this life is guaranteed is change. So no matter what they do, what they say, or how much they want things to go back to where it was, if it's not going back to what Yah said, how he wanted it to be, it don't matter, because even that's going to be a little different than what you think it is, because it's changed. All right, that's what's in his life. It's changed. One day you're 1 years old, one day you're two. 1 year you're 1 years old, 1 year you're 2 years old, 1 year 3. Next thing you know you're 30 something. Next thing you know you're 40 something. Okay, all right. It's like that. One day your hair is short. One couple of days we line is longer. Okay, it's changed. One day you can walk, the next day you can't walk. You have to learn how to walk again. Okay. You went from a young person wearing diapers to now you're just an old person wearing diapers. So you're wearing diapers, but you're old doing it. So that's different. So anyway, yeah. Okay, that's what I want to say. So yeah, with that, yeah, just know that once you got this. The change is here. We here now. You know what I'm saying? Trans people got it. All the LGBT people who I know ones who might struggle with God, like Lil Nas X, do, and how could I do this? I might do another video on that. But just, know that the Most High is here for you. Know that for yourself. That you are part of the oneness of God. And there's nothing that none of these people can do about it. Because if God, the Most High, has you, He has you. Okay? And when you think that the end is near for you, that's when it begins. 2024, number 8 is 8. That's build and destroy. Destroy, build. All right? So that's how it is. One person is deceased. After they deceased, you hear of a new birth. There's so many examples of it here. But yeah, just want to leave y'all with that, man. Y'all be blessed. Like I said, y'all enjoy yourselves if you can. Try to get prepared mentally, spiritually, and even financially, but mainly, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all things should be added unto you. All right, and just know that the Most High got you, and being gay is not a sin, and being trans is not a sin, and yeah. But I'm gonna definitely try to get with a Hero fan. I don't know where this comment will happen, but if you can, try to link me on Facebook. I don't know what you call on the message or Facebook message. I don't know what you call, but you can reach out to me like that. And I'm gonna try to leave my information on this, my email. But anyway, y'all be good. Shalom. I'm out, and y'all be good. Okay. Yeah, this thing.